The Homeport restaurant has been in Menemsha for 80 years. It's an icon on the island and is a part of not only the locals' experience but of the summer visitors. To see the sunset and have their summer meal. And over these 80 years, and especially over these past 20 or so years, so much has changed outside in the ocean that we knew that when we took this restaurant over, we were going to have to really rethink how we were doing things in relationship to what was happening out in the water. My husband has dedicated most of his career to making films about endangered species, about endangered people, so we have more education than we'd ever want, maybe a little bit too much so. We really want to think about how this fish is caught, where it's being caught, and who's catching it.
Mahogany quahogs. Sea clams are actually very good, but they're quite big.
Yeah, they're going to the Homeport. Hopefully they can find a dish for them. Try to get some local interest into what we actually have out here. But usually the big boats come from New Bedford and really clean them up.
It's one of the big industries that 95% of the industry is held by 5 or 6 companies. There's a few small timers around.
Yep.
I guess.
I'd say back in the day there was probably thousands of fishermen from the island that made most of their income between the bay scallops and the shellfishing and everything else, and now you're down to maybe 100 if you're lucky. Sea bass, black bass, striped bass, scup, yellowtail flounder, regular flounder, fluke, codfish, haddock, squid. There's quite a diverse bunch of fish around here. There's just regulations only allow you to catch them at certain times. I tell people if I had to just do local, there'd be times when I'd have nothing in the showcase, and there'd be times when I'd have a whole bunch of 2 or 3 items which people would get tired of eating. You know, air cartons and air freight, you can source it year-round. You can get it from somewhere in the world. I can find a lot of stuff to sell, but it's hard to find something to catch. I appreciate what the Nixons are trying to do. I mean, they're trying to source this stuff locally. They only have a few months to do it, and the local sustainable seafood is not a large selection. And people aren't going to come back to your restaurant and eat the same thing so many times.
It's going to be a raw salad with shaved fennel, some Easter egg radishes, which we have from up the street, and surf clam. You can see how it just curls up and it kind of still moving. Waking up this morning, I had no idea that I'd be getting surf clams in. And at noon, I had no idea that they were going to make my week, basically, with how great they are. Every day you have to be ready to make anything out of anything, basically.
I would say that is why our chef is excited to be here. The sea clams came out from the Vineyard Sound, off the boat, driven right down the road, right to our back door, and suddenly it's on our menu. We have a community of fishermen who are artisanal fishermen. They go out on small boats, they use best practices, and they're competing against factory ships who are completely decimating these fish species and these populations. We feel that we have to act responsibly and believe that if we're guided by those values, that the business will come to us. It's not an easy way to do things, but for us, it's what feels right.